Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. My name is Ganesan Chandran, and I'm the CEO of Toshi, Sundar Brahan. Our topic today will be a very interesting topic regards to smart workplace meeting room booking system, right? And for today's webinar, this was jointly collaborated between Toshi and Omnis. Yeah, Omnis. So let me basically take you to the next without any further ado. Just be there with us, and if there were to be any questions, please raise your hands or put it in the chat box so that we can take it up with you. Right, the agenda today, a simple summary of who we are at Toshi. And number two, we will be diving straight to meeting room booking solution by Omnis, which will be presented by Mr. Gulom, who happens to be the CEO and co-founder. And the next will be our question and answer session. So, a summary of Toshi. We are a value-added distributor. For those who don't know us, we are situated at Damansara Heights, Wisma Chase Pradana. We are a distributor of audio-visual and unified communication product solutioning. Within the range of products, we have varieties of softwares such as 22 Miles, Any Signage, Navori, Intuit Face, Vivid Wall, covering the digital signage perspective. And for the unified communication, we have Fanwheel, we have Call Route, collaboration with Microsoft Teams. We are a distributor of Sangoma, Zyco, and many more other products. Yeah. We are a distributor with hands-on experience. We are strong in our sales, pre-sales, engagement, and post-sales exercises. Telephony product, we have wide range of products to believe in. We have the core, we can even build up from the telco perspective, leading all the way towards the endpoint terminals to handle the enterprise telephony solutions, providing a telephony interface gateways on the telco connectivity. For the telephone line connectivity, we have got enterprise grade switches. We have got contact center solutions by Sangoma, omni-channel contact center solution by Hodo, and the sizes of the broad spectrum is very, very wide, and we can even take it, expand it to collaboration tools together with our flagship product Philips, where you can also do video conferencing. We have also got a private messaging tool called Messengenius. And last but not least, Microsoft Team collaboration with Call Route, which basically simplifies collaboration of integration between Microsoft Teams and telephony interface within a very, very short period of a time, right? As for audio-visual, basically, we have got a couple of products whereby we are the distributors of 22 Miles, Any Signage, Intuit Face. We are the distributors of Philips, LED displays, a console product called Temas. And we are also a distributor of Standy called products. Our commitment is basically with regular webinars, We conduct regular roadshows and events for partners. We are very active in training. We provide monthly newsletters and feel free to book our showrooms as well. With this, having said, based on today's agenda, we will take you to explore how easy and how efficient could a room booking be done. So for those who are new to us, please join us in our Telegram channel, where you can basically get yourself engaged more with us on our live stock updates and our latest updates on our B2B platforms, right? So enjoy the stay, enjoy the topic today, and if you have any questions, reach us out. You can browse our websites. We have got varieties of products, as I took you for a very short summary brief. We didn't want to basically take too much of a time in explaining each and one of those, basically because it is an ocean to explore. So in order to know more, come by, visit us. Our showroom is yours if you book it at the right time by using the right Omnis platform. So without any further ado, I'm handing over this session to the man of the hour, which is Gullian. Over to you, Gullian.
All right, can you guys hear me well? Oh, can you guys hear me? Just making sure. Speakers, microphone. Yeah. Let me know if you hear me, because I'm not sure that everything is working well. It should be okay.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, Gullian.
Okay, thanks. All right.
I hope I pronounced your name right. Yeah.
Well, you know, my name is a mystery to everyone. It's fine. It's fine. It's the equivalent of William in French, so it sounds very much the same. So most people call me William. You know, it's easier.
Oh, all right. Okay. Okay. The show is yours. Go ahead.
All right. I hope you're saying. I have shared my screen.
We can see your screen.
Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. So I have a bunch of different slide sets as I'm, we were working, building different slide sets. So I'm just gonna do a very quick intro about the company. So Omnis is a company that was basically established by two French technical guys in 2018. Both of us, lots of experience in digital signage industry, but what we wanted to do more. So that's how we put our finger into that workspace management business. And one of our very early deployment in 2018 was the very first version of the software that you will see today. The first version was called Rooms, and then we found out it was taken. We changed the name, and then we changed the name again. Now we have registered trademark. So what is interesting about the company is we are a company that is making software and selling through resellers like Toshi, and we have coverage through our reseller base, throughout most of the world. So whatever the size of the opportunity that you may have, we can cover you with our reseller base. Now, talking about today's subject, so smart workplace, and we are going to talk about Flex Easy, which is like the final name of the solution. So I have a few slides, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a quick demo of the functionality that we have today, and also some of the things you can do with some of the hardware solution that we have. So what is happening today in the workspace? There is a lot of things happening because of the pandemic, and people are not in all countries the same, but a lot of people started working from home, and then have continued working from home. But it is more and more clear now that there is a good mix of work in the office and work from home that is the most optimal way for people to work. So, people coming back to the office, yes, but can it be the same office? Probably not. And in this new workspace era, it's important to better manage your resources. So, we have customers, of course, they are talking about meeting rooms, but, we are talking about flash desks, about parking spaces, either for employees or for VIPs, personal lockers, things like, mobile assets like projectors and everything. So the company wants to be able to have a single point where all those assets in the enterprise can be reserved and managed. Obviously, you may have the best return to office kind of policies, but the idea is that it needs to be accompanied by the digitalization of your office space, using the right tools, the right digital displays to display the right information so that users that come back to the office come back in this new, modern, easier to use office than it was before. Not all the people, not all the employees may have the same policies applied to them. So maybe the people in marketing, they need meeting rooms more often. Maybe people in IT, they want to have some specific policies applied to that. So one of the things that we do is we provide a spectrum of policies that can be applied across sites, resource groups, and teams. Of course, now that you have done all that, it's important so that you can see what's happening in your offices across your entire office space. And for that, you would use digital signage. But also, obviously, you would use things like tablets at the entrance of meeting rooms. You would use smart tags on each desk to be able to show the reservation status. So important to visualize, to have a very visual way to understand what's happening with your resources. Of course, you need to plan in advance how your facilities are going to evolve, especially as you have to deal with employees that are returning to an office. Maybe you have changed the office space. Maybe it's smaller now. So you want to make sure that the way that you have planned this is working well. So you need to use the historical data of your bookings and reservation to improve the future facilities management plans. If you see that a type of meeting rooms is always crowded, you are 100% utilization rate, but then a smaller meeting room or smaller meeting rooms are not used as much, maybe in your next round of facilities management updates, you will start, making more bigger rooms and less smaller rooms. So there is a bunch of things you can learn from the historical data you will accumulate. And finally, and obviously, and I wonder if you can hear the thunder right here in the northern part of Tokyo. Integration is most important. So if you have a system like this, but it doesn't integrate with anything else, doesn't make a lot of sense, because then you will have to kind of take data from one system and bring it into another. With our system, with APIs, you can integrate your existing physical security infrastructure, like your security cards, your corporate security cards. You can connect to an internal billing system so that the actual use of each of the facility can be measured and maybe billed within the enterprise. You can connect to a third-party visitor management system or any other third-party solution or hardware, really. Now, so what is FlexEasy? So First, it's a solution that we have completely developed entirely in-house. So this is our baby, and we try to really hard to make it best of its kind. So currently in production, so what is currently running with most of our customers is what we call the version 2.9, and I'll show you a little bit what it looks like and what it's going to look like. And we are actually building V3. We hope to release in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, about 2 months from now. This is deployed across hundreds of sites across all continents. So, we have customers in South America, in North America. We have customers in Europe. We have customers a lot of customers in Asia, obviously. So wherever we go, we have been a little bit battle tested, and especially when it comes to the synchronization with the Microsoft product lines, because I don't know how it is for the rest of the world, but we expected to see a lot of Google, but actually we see probably 90% of people using Google and Microsoft 365, Exchange or Teams, and we've gone through 3 different revisions of that piece of system. One of the things that is very interesting, and this is actually how it started with our very first deployment, we are completely standalone. So if you do not want to connect to a third-party calendaring system, because, hey, there are licensing requirements for that. You're going to have to pay more money, per user if you are using Microsoft 365 or Google. With our solution, you can set up and deploy a system that's completely independent of your third-party calendaring, and it's going to work just the same. And of course, the benefit is our software is not licensed on a per-user basis. So you pay a license that's going to be according to the resources that you are managing. But you may have 10 users or 1,000 users. You basically pay the same license cost. Talking about licensing, we do permanent licensing, like good old software companies, or we do subscription. So it's really up to the user. Do they want more of a CapEx? Do they want more of an OpEx? So it's really up to you as the end user. And of course, the deployment model, we're also very permissive. So we are able to deliver on-premise, either on a Windows server or a Linux server, but we also do private cloud or public cloud. So we help our partners and end users deploy on any type of infrastructure. But also we operate our own cloud servers running the system. So there is a full flexibility here. Importantly, as I was talking about earlier, we do connect to the most useful enterprise calendaring system. So Google Workspace, Microsoft Exchange, Microsoft 365, and on top of that, we also connect with Teams. I'll explain how quickly that works, but most important is we've gone through 3 or 4 different revisions of the Microsoft 365 platform, so it's now rock solid, and we use the Graph API, which according to Microsoft at least, gives us the best performance. Teams can be used in the system in order to receive notification about, like an event starting, but also about a booking ending, and give you the ability to extend those kind of bookings directly from Teams. We work with a bunch of different hardware. So first, we carry our own hardware, but we also work with a wide selection of hardware partners, such as Philips, which is very important for us, has been a very good partner from the very early time we started the adventure. We work also with somehow famous companies like Idea and Cubic, which are famous in this kind of workspace management. And we also work with a small company called Ines that are making what they call the smart busy lights. And that is, instead of having a tablet, you are able to show the occupancy of a room using just a smart light, like the famous Philips Hue lights. And eventually, when it comes to sensors, because one of the power of the solution is that we work with a lot of sensors, we recommend using the Atlona occupancy sensors. for your deployments. They work great, and they are actually not so expensive. So we like them a lot. All right. So that's kind of a quick overview of what FlexEasy is. And I'm just going to go quickly and show some of the deployments that we have done in the past couple of years. Older slides, I need to update that at some point. But one of the largest deployments we have done is actually in Taiwan with the fifth largest finance company in Taiwan that holds a little over $20 billion of assets under management. And like a lot of companies in the finance sector, they didn't want anything in the cloud. And so we did an on-premise deployment, and we've deployed probably now more than 150 meeting rooms across more than 3 actually of their group companies. So we are the solution of choice. And we are getting more and more embedded and deployed in more and more spaces. One of the things that we did for them that was pretty cool was integration with their lighting. So if you see on the picture, you can see in the top of the ceiling, there are some blue lights. Actually, the lights are completely controlled with our system. We basically command the light to come up and give us a warm, blue hue when a meeting is about to start. When the meeting starts, we can switch on the light completely. And then, whatever the status of the light at the end of the meeting, when the meeting ends or is ended because people are all checking out, the light is automatically switched off. And this happens also with the help of occupancy sensors. So every room has occupancy sensors, and we detect when people come into the room, enabling us to actually start the meeting when the first person have entered the room. And also, similarly, we know when people have left the room, we can't detect anyone anymore. And using that, we are able to completely switch off the light. So that's a pretty cool deployment we have done there. We also work, and this is actually one of the largest deployment happening at the moment. So largest European public transportation company. It's a private operator, but it's a public transportation company, and the headquarters is in France. And they have done a Microsoft 365 cloud deployment, deployed on our cloud actually. So we are responsible completely for that deployment. They integrate with the Smart Busy Light, which I was talking a bit about. And one of the things that's interesting is they are also using a different type of sensor in order to see the occupancy of their room. So we have a special sensor which is used for counting people. So we are able to count the people coming in and out of the room, and makes it possible like this to know how many people are in the room at any time. And using that information, they wanted to know that some of the largest meeting rooms, which obviously cost the most to operate, are actually used carefully and not used by only a few people. So they can track like this the amount of people coming in and out every room. One of the examples of deployments, what I used to call a hybrid deployment, but now hybrid has a different word, different meaning. That was the first, one of the first deployments we did with desks, and meeting rooms. So they needed to deploy 60 plus desks, completely flexible desk policy. They came to us and say, actually, we have a few rules we want to set up. And that was right before COVID. So things actually evolved a little bit, but they wanted to make sure that no one uses the same desk every day. The reason is they wanted people to kind of mix and match. So during COVID, that rule actually didn't get implemented. But as soon as things got in order, what happened is the system has a policy that gives you a cooling off period during which you are not allowed to reuse the same same resource. And this is completely flexible. So depending on the type of resource, depending on who that applies to, we are able to set up very clear policies like this. And this is something that we innovated because this is something they wanted. We have actually quite a few customers in what we would call military contractors, defense contractors kind of places. And all of those companies, they are very, very careful about security. They really want to be able to fully control the deployment. So we have customers like this in France, in Spain, soon in Singapore. And basically, nothing really fancy. The only thing that they wanted is they wanted to have a full UI customization. So this is not actually the actual deployment picture because they wanted to be very secret about all of that. But they asked us to make a full UI customization. So the UI that they have is quite unique to their own deployment. All right. So I've gone through the basics of FlexEasy. Now what I want to do is quickly show you what it looks like. So what you see right now is the current, let's say, deploy version on our demo server. So you will see information here that shows you what it looks typically. We support multiple languages, and this is actually one of the core value of the company. We try to be very multilingual. We have this culture in-house of multilingualism. So, we will add and add more and more languages as we go. The system actually is pretty simple. You enter the main page, and you have the information about your agenda. And then from then on, what you can do is you can go and look at your different resource types, and very simply, you can do your bookings. So all of that, is basically being improved in the new version. And I will be introducing the new version that we are shipping in a couple of months. So this is what's going to look like. So first is we've worked with some UI UX designer and used some very, very good templates to create something that looks very, very nice and user-friendly. One of the things that we'll try to do is for each of the page that we create, the first thing, probably most important thing, is the new system will be completely reactive. So you use that on a large screen, on a small screen, on a smartphone, on a tablet. The system will be completely reactive. So you will be able to use the exact same system, which is fully web compatible, directly on any of those devices. And why it's important is because we wanted the user to be able to do everything that they do on our web app on their mobile. And the previous version didn't have that capability. We didn't have a reactive website. So it was quite hard to actually do things like do a proper booking interface. But the new version is fully compatible with mobile devices. So it's going to be very easy for people to be able to just, logging on their mobile device and then use the system and book their resources as they want. One of the things, of course, we try to do a little bit of, dark mode for people who like that. We also are trying to make the system much cleaner and easier to use, and also have a bit of fun with that. So, as a user, you will always be able to create your own avatar. And let's try to change like this. Here you go. Maybe that looks a little more like me, let's say. And this avatar will be able to be used across the system, to design it too. So as we are finalizing the last touches of the system, we are going to be able to add those avatars everywhere to indicate, the difference, or at least the connections between people in the organization. The system also, in the version 3 that's coming out soon, will have the ability to do hybrid work planning. So that's what we are talking about earlier, which is it's going to be more and more of a challenge for organizations to really kind of manage like their different teams. So it's important to have a tool where people can log in the morning and they say, hey, today I'm gonna work from home, and my status is gonna be remote today, and this information is locked in, and you are able as a manager to see what's happening with your entire team. So you look at what's happening by your team, and you can also go and say, hey, I need you to be in the office. So you can also help the entire team schedule around like the important time in the office like this. So that's going to be something that will be probably a key feature in the future for this system. Apart from that, I'll go through some of the resource overview and everything. But the most important idea in the system is that basically you can have multiple sites, and each of those sites can have its own policies, can have their own information language associated to them. But most importantly, each site have usually an address and a time zone. So when you go around in the system, you can see that, wherever you are in the world, as long as you have access to those sites, you have access to those resources, you will be able to go and say, hey, I'm going to the Tokyo office. I want to go to the cup noodle. And now I can go and make my reservation. So, right. Let's say webinar meeting works, and this user interface is more or less going to be the same on a mobile phone. So we try to make sure that it looks very, very nice on whichever device. As you can see, we can actually also automatically create an online meeting. So today we are compatible with Teams and WebEx. But as customer come and ask us for more, we will start having and adding more online meeting functionality as well. And here we go. I created my webinar meeting. You can see my little avatar here, and on my resource, which is Cup Noodle. And basically, you can do the same with any resource. So you can have desks, you can have parkings. As I mentioned earlier, we have customers that have lots and lots of crazy ideas about the thing they want to reserve. So I give you some funny examples. So actually that financial company in Taiwan, they have two different facilities, which is kind of unique. They have massage chairs that they can actually reserve. And we also have in the same company, they actually have massage ladies that you can also reserve by the hour. So it is, I guess it's a good company to work at if you have, I guess, the right level of VIP-ness. We also have companies that are using the system in coordination with lockers. You don't even need to have smart lockers because we actually have some really cool devices to stick on lockers so that we can make them smart lockers. But this is one of the examples that we can do. One of the ideas that we had for the new version is to create a universal booking system. So I'll show you the booking assistant. And what it does, basically, you select your main resource. Let's say I want to book a desk. So I'm going to book my desk here. And that's for the day. You don't have to put a title. But also, you are able to select a number of different services right from the start. So those services will be connected to different service providers, depending on their categories. And, of course, we also support having authorization, approval process, and so on. But let's say that, you are fully approved to do that. You will be able to order your coffee or your croissant when you arrive. You can have someone, set up the conference system and so on and so on. But most importantly, we wanted to have a system that's streamlined for your entire day in the office. So you have your desk, but you are going to come and you also want a parking place. And the system can allow you to actually change the actual reservation time for your parking space. But, if you're basically planning to have the entire day in the office, all you do is basically you set the same time for all the resources, and it enables you to reserve all things at once. And we can see that happening with bike racks, for example. Bike racks, people in some countries like Holland, hey, you want your bike racks, right? And so on. So that's how you are able to create those meetings, and then it creates your reservation. Here you go. And the idea like this is to really be able to have a unified workflow. And I believe that by the end of the development process, we'll actually refine this booking process to make it even better. A new tool that we are bringing in as well for the V3 will be our booking assistant. So you will be able to just do a very simple room booking, and just imagine that you are doing that from a mobile phone using voice typing. So you can go and say, I want a room for 3 people on Friday morning around 10 a.m. For 45 minutes. So you could basically voice type this, and the system will parse the natural language. So we are actually using the Azure OpenAI capability, and as you can see, the system found a room from 10 to 10:45 and created a booking automatically. You can also ask for catering services, so that's an additional features, and all of that can be done using natural language. So doing that on the go with your mobile phone will make it much easier and much funnier to use. So I was mentioning earlier, you could look at all your resources one by one, and typically, what we are trying in this new version compared to the first version, which was a little dry, we're trying to put like nice pictures everywhere. You are able to associate pictures with any resource, you are with any sites. So it's going to be an actual reflection of your company and your company information. So that's going to be really important. When it comes to the administration, so of course, a typical user will not have access to all of that. But you have a lot of capability. Of course, the most interesting one is the ability, to change the UI information. In terms of IT setup, this is also where everything happens. So you can create your API keys. You have access to multi-factor authentications directly from the system, so you don't need even to create that on a separate system. You can use your usual Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator directly with our system. It works well. We support LDAP for enterprise. So any large company using some kind of LDAP directory, Active Directory, will be able to use that. One of our claim to fame is for large companies that have multiple LDAP servers that serve multiple different entities. We actually are able to support those configurations as well. So we are able to have connection with multiple LDAP servers and users being synchronized with those LDAP servers, all at the same time. We do single sign-on, and we support MQTT. So MQTT is used for a lot of things, including connecting with sensors. So a lot of sensors actually speak the MQTT protocol, and they let us know, for example, that someone has entered the room, and based on that, we are able to run some rules in the system. But MQTT is also used to send information down to some of our own devices. So I'll show you a little bit what it looks like after that. The system obviously has the ability to support users and groups of users, and the groups of users can be used for a lot of things, but of course to group a team together, but always as well to create groups of users that have specific rights. For example, authentication, approval process. You will need to create a bunch of different users and different groups to be able to apply those groups to some specific policies, for example. Talking about policies, this is actually one of the key areas which I think, we are doing things a little more crazy than everyone else. So we can create a bunch of different policies, apply them to different type of assets and at different location, and then we can create the different rules. And as you can see, we have a lot of different rules. They can be behavioral, like requiring approval. You can prevent people from making recurring bookings so that they don't hog a space. You can do things like block users. If people don't come to the meeting on time, they get basically flagged. If they fail coming to the meeting on time after many times, you can actually block them automatically. You can do things like have rules in terms of scheduling. So some rooms cannot be reserved on the same day, for example. Some rooms need to be reserved, but cannot be reserved more like 6 months in advance, for example. So those are the kind of thing we do. And as I mentioned earlier, we are also able to dynamically block people from using a resource based on a cooling off policy. So you've used that resource 3 days ago, sorry, you are not allowed to use that resource today. Choose and find another resource. And all of that obviously is checked in real time, but also when you do a booking. So every booking that you do goes through those policies. And if you do an ad hoc booking, this will also go to the policies. Okay, some of the important things here. Oh, floor plans. People always love the floor plan story. Let's try. So one of the things we try to do, we try not to make things complicated. We want our users to be able to, as much as possible, be able to do their own thing using the system. So when, for example, we started making floor plans that can be displayed on a digital signage, we wanted that to be very easy for user. So what we do is we let you upload a picture of your floor. It can be, mostly any size, but obviously, since eventually it will be displayed on a big display, it probably better fitting on a typical full high definition or 4K display. And then after that, you can go and you can, hey, I want to actually, this is not the right meeting room here. This is the right meeting room. So I just cleared it, and now I can go and you can see me draw the shape of the meeting room like this, and I pressed the wrong button on my laptop, and I finish with double click. And when I finish with double click, after that, I just have to save. And now this information automatically is saved and will be displayed across the different places. So that's one of the features that people really like about us. It's it's so easy to set up a system like this. So here actually you can see I have a little dot to explain where the desk is, so I can do the same. I can change the location of the desk. So depending on the type of resource, you will be able to draw their location on screen or simply add a dot for their location in the system. Now one thing I can do actually is show you what it looks like, with the tablet. So we have those tablets. So this is actually our own tablets, but the same work with the Philips tablet, for example. Very simply, you have the ability directly from the tablets to do things like, do a booking. And here I did a non-authenticated booking because, I didn't use any kind of way of authentication. But you can actually require people to use an authentication. And the easiest way to use authentication is using, NFC cards like this. And, you can use, there is an NFC. There is actually an NFC reader embedded in the system, but it looks like I didn't register this card, so it didn't know about it. Good. I could do it, but that's going to take a bit of time. Let's see if I have another card. Okay, let's try another card. Okay, so here I have checked in. So it's actually multi-check-in, which I forgot that I set up. So it means right now the system knows, that, we have checked in. So I can go and check out now. But if I use my card again, you can see that I have checked in. It recognized me. I'm authenticated. And that's actually one way to identify yourself. If you don't have an NFC sensor, which some tablets don't have, we are also able to use what is called a personal PIN code. And each user in the system will have their own PIN code, and they will be able to use that PIN code to register themselves. So that if it's required to be authenticated, you can do it with a PIN code. We have the room finder here. So you are able to see what other location in the system are currently free. And of course, you can go and book them directly from there. So if you are running in a meeting room floor space and then you realize that the room you wanted to use is occupied, you can just use the room finder, find the nearest room. It will try and find the nearest room on the same floor first. And then if it doesn't find the same floor, it will try to look the nearest floor, and you can directly book it from there. So that before you arrive, that is for you. We support also, and this is used for some of our customers to be able to see the information in any language. Some people don't always use English, and actually, we have I think a customer in China, they wanted to be able to choose between, not China, Taiwan. They wanted to be able to choose between the different languages like this. At the bottom, you can see we have some information. So we support what we call amenities, and that's something that's completely free to the user to do by themselves. And as you can see, the system has already a TV malfunction, a projector malfunction, and that's why you had those yellow icons. Now, if you actually go and say, hey, the TV is working now, so you can press the solve button and submit. Actually, don't need to submit. And you can see now the room in actually the TV associated with the room has been cleared. So that's kind of some of the capability. You see, actually, I push that away. Another important thing that we are doing, and I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit, is we are gonna start shipping with the version 3 those electronic tags. So very similar to what you may have in your supermarkets to display prices. We actually made our custom integration with those kind of system, and we are able now to use that for desk booking. And as you can see, there is a QR code like there is actually on the screen. And the idea is using the software running on either Android or iPhone. And I mean, basically you will be able to use a QR code reader, but also you will be able to read directly from our application running as a web app. You will be able to connect to those resources, to book those resources, and automatically the system will update. So which is great with those desk tags. We call them easy tags. And basically they are online, they communicate, they are a bit slow, so they update every couple of minutes also when necessary. But it's gonna allow you to have a system that you don't need to connect to anything. You don't need electricity. You don't need network. It's all gonna be wireless. You basically put that on every desk or on every locker. So we have people who are planning to deploy that technology on locker. You connect that with a little bit of double tape. And here you are, you have a smart locker, right? So that's some of the cool integration that can be done. Now, finally, I just want to show you some of the things are still a little bit under deployment. So we'll do a lot more analytics in the new version than the old version. But at the moment, we have more analytics actually in the old version. So if I go to the analytics area, what you can actually see is, all right, there's not a lot of data in the system. It's been cleaned recently, I guess. What you can see is there is a lot of data that we keep, and we know, we can know the total attendees, for example, if they multi-check in or if they use our sensor, we know the number of attendees. We can know whoever is doing no-show. So, and we also have a secret reporting for the no-show dashboard. So we can know who are the people who do the most no-show like this. Actually, the reason why we don't have a lot of data is because the date is, let's see. Oh, that's going to take a bit of time. So, and as you can see, what is interesting is it's in real time. I just selected my date, and it's going to give me all that information, calculate them in real time. And you have all this information that come out like this. We have a little bit of issues, with the amenities. So we can find out which amenity is creating the most issue, and we can actually find for each type of amenity what's happening, if they got repaired, and we can find the average time to solve the issue. So 17 days average resolution time. And then we have tons and tons of statistics like this. So how do people do their booking? Do they do their booking using the tablets directly? Do they use a QR code? Do they use Office 365? We can see also what type of booking. So if they plan in advance, if they plan the same day, and so on. You can see the actual booking per date, per hours and per day. All of that information basically coming directly from the database and sliced and diced in real time for you. And then you can see as well, the kind of utilization heat map. So for our demo database, the content is not very realistic. But if you see some of the customers' actual deployment, you would see that their utilization heat map is very useful to them because they can see really precisely where are the time of the day where some of those resources are not used. So they can, they can look at those information in order to better improve their utilization rate. Okay, I think it's more or less all I wanted to show you about the solution today. We have obviously a lot of things we can show. Usually it takes more than an hour to do a full demo, but I would be happy to take any question if you had, or I'll let our good friends at Toshi to make a conclusion.
Right. Well, that was very, very impressive walk that you gave just now, Guillaume. Never knew there was such a room booking system that comprehensive.
We tried to do the best.
Yeah, I mean, you really caught our attention, and thanks to our CTO, because he normally fetches the right product with the right mindset. He does his homework right.
He's great, yes.
Yeah. So very impressive, very impressive. Team participants, do we have any questions? I mean, we are open for any questions if there would be. while we await questions, this system can also be implemented on the cloud.
Definitely. I mean, we are completely open when it comes to deployment. So
Right.
in some way, we are a little bit old style because I've been working in the deployment of digital signage for nearly 20 years before we started this new adventure.
I
And
see.
what we found out is, some countries are happy with cloud, but in some countries, their mentality is, I have money now, I want to use it now. I don't know if I have money in 2 years.
Right.
So,
Okay.
in that mentality, they'd rather have a deployment that they control, and sometimes it means that they buy a license, but then they deploy it themselves in the cloud.
Understand.
But what we always say is deployment and licensing is different, right? So if you want CapEx, we have the ability to sell a license. That's going to be good forever. You can use until the end of time. If you want OpEx, we can sell you a subscription to the software with a license that you have to renew every year, every 2 years, depending on your contract terms.
Excellent. Mr. Ali, any question, Mr. Ali?
Right. No, I think I'm good. Thank you very much for Guillaume presentation and you, Ganeshan. I think I'm clear about this, but hopefully our partners, resellers, get to know about this platform where it can be used in many different workplaces to provide a remedy on managing the any kind of facilities, including booking rooms.
Right.
Yes, and meeting rooms booking is still the biggest of the deployment pattern, right? Most people start with meeting rooms and then they are, oh, you can do this as well, you can do that as well, you can do this as well, and then they end up adding booking for their lockers, for their desk, and so on and so on.
I see. Okay. Yeah, giving the flexibility and product being you're the product owner by itself. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Just last question before we end. You mentioned that we can make the ordinary lockers as smart locker.
Correct.
So you have kind of integration with the lock system, or?
Okay, so there are two answers to that. So we have done integration in the past for a customer with lock system, lock technology, but that was not for lockers. That was for doors. When I mention smart lockers, is you may know there are some famous smart lockers company. Their product is extremely expensive, and usually in your company you may already have lockers that are fine. Just what you want is to be able to reserve those lockers, So using an actual easy tag, which is our e-paper tag, right? You basically can transform any locker into a smart locker by simply making it reservable with the name of the person that's going to be displayed when they arrive in the office. They can see, okay, that locker, that's my locker. I put my stuff in it and I take the key and I go away. So that's, making them smart lockers is a little bit of a shortcut, but the idea is now you can reserve them, and that's something that can be enforced by policy.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so if we don't have any other further question, so we call it a day. And once again, thank you very much, everybody, for attending today's session. We hope it was fruitful as much it was for us. It was a very good insight shared, something new to explore. And we know that you can reach out to us with the trust that we have built with all of us over the years, and giving the flexibility of integration to make everything possible. So having said that, would like to wish everyone a good evening, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Ganeshan.
Thank you.